This week, Legion of Superheroes, X-Force, and we talk with the makers of the upcoming Bloodshot movie. Happening here and now, it's PREVIEWSworld Weekly.
What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday, it's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews Weekly. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and as usual, we're here every week to remind you guys to stop at a comic shop and get involved in what's happening in the world of comics. And if you're enjoying the show, or it's your first time, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and follow to keep all the nerd news coming.
Hey, Thea.
What's up?
I saw Joker. Did you see Joker?
I did see Joker.
We finally saw Joker. Look at that. Now, I mean, we haven't really talked, we talked a little bit about it, but I don't even know if you liked it or not. Did you like it or not?
I didn't dislike it.
Okay, all right.
But again, it was one of those movies where I felt like I didn't need it.
Okay, all right.
I was going to go see it anyway, because relevant to my interests.
Right, yeah.
But, I found myself, honestly, through parts of it a little bored.
Okay, interesting.
And otherwise uncomfortable, which of course was definitely the goal, so they hit that on the nose.
Good job.
For sure. But it was good as a movie, but I'm not sure it needed to be like a Joker movie. And I don't know what else it would have been.
Right, yeah.
But it was a good story.
Yeah, no, and
to be fair.
It surprised me, like, because of exactly that. Like, the main thing that surprised me was I didn't expect so many references to the actual comic books.
Sure.
And that's kind of like, as the movie progressed, I was like, actually, that was in a comic, and that was also in a comic. The thing that really stuck out to me, actually, was that there's a scene towards the end that is straight out of The Dark Knight Returns. Like, I mean, they practically lifted it out. And the way that they weaved it into the story, I don't want to give away too much. It's been a couple of weeks now, but like,
sure.
There's a bit, and there's a big thing, and it's in the trailer. There's a big thing around a late night talk show.
Yes.
And that scene is actually in The Dark Knight. And we don't get to that scene in the same way, but when that moment happens, it's very similar to like the setup for a big Joker moment in The Dark Knight Returns. And there were other little bits and pieces there. I've actually never read Lee Bermejo and Brian Azzarello's Joker, but I imagine that there's probably a lot of that from the book as well.
Sure.
From that book as well. It genuinely surprised me, like how much of it was like steeped in actual comic book stuff.
That's good to know.
Right. A lot of it isn't, but
Sure.
but like I was actually surprised at how much was.
Good.
So I'm dare to say I liked it.
I definitely thoroughly enjoyed all the portions where he actually is becoming the Joker.
Right, yeah.
Where he's really embodying that
Right.
and like taking off and embracing the madness, right?
Yeah, right.
So I really enjoyed that part, but a lot of the actual like past and how he gets there was just sort of like, oh.
Right, yeah. A little bit, push you a little bit on edge, right?
Yeah.
And the way that the movie ends, and I'm talking about the literal ending of the movie right before they go to credits, cracked me up. Actually, the movie's surprisingly kind of funny. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's definitely dark comedy in there, but I mean,
sure.
There's a couple of murders in the movie that I'm like, that was kind of amusing, actually.
Yes. No, I'm with you on that. Where I was just like, ha!
Right, yeah. There's just a couple of them.
A little bit like vindictive, like,
right,
get him kind of thing,
Right. So it's a recommend for me. Like I
agree.
genuinely surprised me.
Yes.
I also saw Terminator: Dark Fate.
Oh.
And another one that actually genuinely surprised me, because like we've gotten like 17 Terminators and they've all sucked after Judgment Day. I guess Terminator 3 is okay. And actually they all have different merits, I guess. But like this one definitely surprised me.
Good.
And I was actually pleased to find out afterwards that two of my favorite writers, actually one is a comic book writer, the other one is a novel writer, were involved in the brainstorming process for getting this movie off the ground. One of them was Warren Ellis, who I've talked about a million times. He's currently doing the Batman comic, Batman's Grave. The other one is Neil Stephenson, who's a sci-fi writer. And so they kind of pulled them all in, and a couple other people whose names I don't remember, sorry. But they pulled them all in to kind of like,
consult on it,
consult on it and just kind of like break the script, so to speak.
Cool.
So,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So, and there was just clever ideas in it, and like once I found that out afterwards, I was like, oh, well, that's probably why. There's some actually unique ideas in it.
I'm planning on trying to see it this week.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I loved it, but at the same time, like I was like, okay, this is a step in the right direction.
For me, it's the first time in a long time that I've felt vaguely excited about a Terminator movie.
Fair enough, yeah, which
Yeah.
for very good reason. So, check it out if that's your steez.
Yeah.
Like, I was into it.
For sure.
Also, the movie's tough. Like, I keep focusing on murder. There was some kills in that movie that I was like, yes.
Bravo.
Right, and you get the golf clap too. There you go. Also, before we jump into comics, I had to point this out. Anok Yays, is that right, Johnny? Yai, Anok Yai's cosplay, or it's just a Halloween costume.
Yes.
Can we really call it a cosplay when it's on Halloween? I guess you can still call it cosplay, right? But look, Heidi Klum had a Halloween party, right?
She always does.
She always does,
and
right?
She knocks it out of the park. This woman loves Halloween. Loves, and has for years. And always throws a huge bash, and always herself has an epic Halloween costume.
And I didn't even know what she did. Did she do it? Because like this...
I always catch up with it like forever and a day later, but yeah.
So, well, the reason I bring this up is because, and I know some of you have probably already seen this, but Anok Yai's costume of Storm, like,
It's just, like, I don't even have words. She looks gorgeous. The costume is gorgeous. It's perfect.
It's amazing.
It makes me very happy.
There's about a million things I could say, but I'm going to choose my words carefully. But it's a little thirsty.
I know what you're thinking.
It's a little thirsty,
yeah,
but
of course.
But
inevitably,
I can't help it. I grew up on the X-Men comics,
But she looks so good.
She looks so good.
So good.
And it instantly made me mad, actually, when I saw it, because the movies have gotten her so wrong every single time. And just seeing her walk out the way they did, someone put, like, did cut a video of her, like, just walking, and, like, they put thunderclaps behind it.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh, be still my beating heart.
I don't know if she can act, but, like,
hire her.
Like, legit, like, just do it. Also,
So great.
there was apparently some fan art. I don't know if her costume was based off the fan art, but at the same time, like, she's the spitting image of this image by Jamie Faye.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, absolutely perfect.
Straight up that design, and nailed it. Like, it's
out the park.
To a T.
But I'm going to stop there, like, before I get in trouble with the internet, because probably reposted that image, like, about on all of my social media this week. But anyway, we're going to talk more about X-Men later in the show, because, of course, there's some Dawn of X titles coming out, and shocker, I didn't pick one of them. But let's talk about what's at comic shops. Anna Mia's here, and she's going to show us what has hit shelves this week. Check it out.
Hey Previews World! Every week we give you the rundown of some of the books hitting the shelves for the first time. Here's what's at comic shops for the week of November 6th, 2019. Is that it? No way. Your comic shop has something for every type of customer. So stop at a comic shop today, and I'll see you back here next week.
As always, thank you, Mia. And of course, that's just a little bit of what's available in your shop this week. If you want to see a full list, head on over to previewsworld.com/new releases. What you reading?
So the final issue of Space Bandits is out this week.
Oh.
And I picked the first issue. I've been playing catch up. I actually have a couple. I was trying to catch up on the rest of them here because I have a few of them sitting right here right now. But like I read the first three, so I'm going to finish the last two. But it's a fun book. It's just a cool book. Like I explained before, it's the setup, not necessarily the premise, but the setup is like basically it took like until the 90s for the 80s fashions and sounds to come to the Midwest. So how long did it take for it to get to space?
Right.
Well, it turns out now.
Haha.
Right. So it's very much like a Flash Gordon type of like reality that these characters are in. But at the heart of it is basically two women who are both criminals. And like one has been wronged by her gang, like they totally betrayed her and ran off with her money. And the other one was like basically doing a Bonnie and Clyde thing with her boyfriend, and then he turned on her. They're both in prison together, and now they're plotting escape because they're on was the Kill Bill thing, a roaring rampage of revenge. You
Good.
know what I mean? Yeah, it's Matteo Scalera, who's a great artist, and it's Mark Miller, so it's like kind of like snippy and like snipey and like
I love it.
and just big adventure action type thing. Yeah, it's just a fun book, and if you're into sci-fi action adventure, it's probably the book to pick up, to be honest. So 5 issues, nice and simple, really fun.
Absolutely.
What are you looking forward to this week?
Get ready for a big surprise, guys. Die.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So this is issue number 6, and of course this is from Kieran Gillen, who's my favorite. And so this is part 4 of Split the Party, which of course we all know is never a good idea. And again, for those of you who don't know the premise of this, it's basically like super adult D&D adventure. And like a little bit of Stranger Things-ish, because they are sucked into another realm.
Right, yeah.
Which is the realm of the D&D game. And yeah, some stuff goes down, it's intense.
Yeah.
They lose a party member, they come back to the real world, and then they get sucked back in to the fantasy world, and yeah, they're still trying to figure out how to get out of there in one piece.
I love that premise, actually. I think
so
it's a good one.
And the artwork is beautiful, the character development is great. I really, really am enjoying this book.
Okay, no, Kieran Gillen, he's a real one.
Yes.
Kieran Gillen's in there. Like, he definitely does great stuff. They were threatening, I think it was Jonathan Hickman. I was listening to an interview with him. He was threatening to try to get Kieran Gillen back for the X-Men books, because he did X-Men like about 7 or 8 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, I'd be down for that. Like, whatever.
Yes.
Right. Actually, funny enough, I watched, when I went to see Joker, they showed the trailer for, I think it was when I went to see Joker, they showed the trailer for Jumanji. The new Jumanji. And I was sitting there and like I thought of Die, because I was like, I kind of would much rather see Die, because it's kind of like a similar idea, but it goes in a darker direction, I'm assuming.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
The new Jumanji movies are surprisingly good.
I heard the first one was good.
I was very pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
I was going into it thinking like, oh, I'm going to laugh my butt off at this because it's going to be dumb.
Right.
And it is dumb, but it's also like a good kind of dumb.
Okay.
It's definitely, it keeps the spirit of Jumanji and brings it a little forward, which is nice. Highly recommend.
Highly recommend. I was curious about it, so I'll check it out. My other pick this week, we talked about the Joker earlier. The creative team behind the Joker book, that everything I've read has indicated that it's based off of, the movie is loosely based off of the Joker comic by Lee Bermejo and Brian Azzarello.
Right.
They also put out, and I got my old copy here, Luther. And so it's cool because it's basically giving the devil his due, right? Like Lex Luthor hates Superman, right? And we always kind of get this image of like him in the purple and green suit, like shaking his fist at Superman, like, very ham-fisted. But like in the last couple of years, they've really kind of like, truthfully, they've kind of turned him into sort of like a business, well actually since the 1980s, he's been more of a business figure, right? Like he's like Donald Trump made good, right? Well, not good, still evil, but like, at the same time, like he's just super successful.
Yes.
But the interesting thing about this book, there's a new printing out this week, and I highly recommend you read this book, especially if you like the Joker. I actually think this is like probably one of the best Superman stories I've ever read.
Cool.
Because it's his perspective on Superman. And it kind of, right, and some of the best stories I've read have been Lex Luthor's perspective on Superman. And it kind of gives you like an idea of, he's of the attitude that humans should be able to excel on their own, and he's a self-made man, right? And so here's this alien who's like basically lands on Earth, and everybody looks up to him, and he's like, no, this is we are supposed to be the aspiration. Like we're supposed to be the thing that we're supposed to strive to be.
Yes.
We're supposed to be the best version of ourselves.
Yes.
And there's a bit of a back and forth with him and Bruce Wayne, but he doesn't know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. But they're both talking about Superman.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's darker, it's grittier, and it's a really good Superman story where Superman's not even at the base of it. So if you haven't read Luther, definitely check it out.
Very cool.
Yeah. What else are you looking forward to this week?
So this is a fun one. It's the Addams Family, and of course it's the old school style, the original art style that it came out in.
Right. Yeah.
From the little strips that it came in.
Right.
And this is the Bodies issue. So this is actually a tie-in to the film that came out this month.
Right. Yeah.
And it's largely about Wednesday, and she's like creeping around the house trying to find the creepiest grimoire she can, and she discovers a tome that promises true empowerment to the young woman who wields it. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna do these rituals and become this crazy, powerful whatever.
Yeah, right.
So, I don't know, just a
she's
goofy little.
being evil.
Because Adams.
Because Adams, right.
So it's just a fun little Adams side story kind of deal.
Yeah. I actually think
wrap up the Halloween season. Right?
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's perfect for that. I actually think a lot of people don't realize that Adams Family was a comic strip.
Yes, it
like
was.
that's why the TV show got made, and then ultimately the TV show riffed off of became the movies and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
So.
and the current movie is also the original art style of the original
Right.
characters' styles. So that's why they look the way they do.
Right, yeah. It was like the dark version of Family Circus, kind of. 'Cause
Right.
it was like a single panel, like comic strip and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, comic book movies have been around forever. Just saying. Martin Scorsese. So, big ticket items this week.
Yeah.
I'll go first. Legion of Superheroes, number one. So they did Legion of Superheroes Millennium, which was like this two-parter that was basically just setting the stage for this series.
Yeah.
It's Brian Michael Bendis. It's Ryan Sook, who is like such a good artist.
Absolutely.
Like I can't even like underline that so much. He's such a good artist. The Millennium book had like a mishmash of different artists on it, but this one is Ryan Sook, and like basically the setup has been. I only read the first issue of the Millennium book, but the setup is that Rosen Thorn, who's like this kind of like this B-level character, which is kind of Bendis' MO, is at the center of some sort of mysterious plot. And she's never aged, and now she's in like pretty much the 31st century, and she's just starting to kind of realize like, wait a minute, like, my power shouldn't allow me to do that. What's going on?
Oh.
And so it looks like she's gonna intersect with the Legion of Superheroes, which is just like this colorful cast of characters. You got Superboy from the 31st century. They already introduced like basically an older Supergirl, so I guess she's Superwoman now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm curious about it. Like I haven't really picked up a Bendis book in a while, and he's usually excels with large casts, and this is probably the largest cast he's ever dealt with.
there you go.
Yeah, worth checking out.
Now's the time.
What else? What other big ticket items are there?
So again, we've talked about this one on the show before, and it's here, it's now. I'm personally really excited about it. Undiscovered Country.
Nice, yeah.
So this is issue number 1, first issue, and this is from Charles Soule and Scott Snyder. So good writing on this puppy here, and this is really, really cool conceptually. So the idea is that the United States has basically walled itself off, and people don't really know what the heck happened or what's going on in there. And there's a team that are seeking the cure for a global pandemic. They breach the US borders and they find themselves in a struggle to survive whatever has happened to our country.
Right.
And it just seems really cool.
No, it's like, I mean, I guess it's not really a post-apocalyptic thing, but just it probably,
in that
probably
vein.
borders on
Absolutely
that.
in that vein, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, no, Scott Snyder, like you said, Scott Snyder, Charles Soule, that's a winning team.
Yes.
Like seeing them combine to make one book is like actually pretty impressive. So definitely check that out.
For sure.
So we didn't talk about X-Men this week, right? But we're about to. So New Mutants and X-Force are the new X-Men titles out this week, because of course they're doing the Dawn of X line. All the new number ones are dropping this week. Last week was Excalibur.
Yep.
So here's a trailer for Excalibur from Marvel Comics, and then we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Dawn of X.
Whoop.
This Excalibur is a new spin on an old favorite. It touches on the worlds of the fantastic and magic and still is rooted in the modern X-Men continuity of the present.
We're taking those amazing things from the original Excalibur, this beautiful fantasy world of the Otherworld and Avalon and the Captain Britain Corps and all of that, and we're saying, how do the X-Men interact with this from a place of victory instead of loss? What sort of magic can they make?
Tini is a writer who absolutely impressed us with her work. We sought her out and said, what kind of an X book do you want to do? And she is the one who brought to us, well, I want to do a book that focuses on magic.
I've always been someone that likes to roll some dice and play some games, so I would be lying if I said I hadn't thought of the characters as their role within the party. When we were in the room and we decided that we were going to make Betsy Captain Britain, it was like, that's the paladin. That's our leader of our team.
And that's what Excalibur is going to be. It's going to be this grand fantasy adventure involving mutants with a cast of characters that fans know and expect, but other ones that are complete curveballs.
Apocalypse is the big question mark on the team, right? So when we see the new status quo for mutants, we might understand why Apocalypse has even bigger plans than anyone else on the island.
Artist Marcus Toe, we knew he would fit it perfectly. His style is so clean and beautiful and grand and impressive. He's absolutely nailing all the fantastical elements.
These pages are gorgeous. Excalibur is a book that is going to jump off the comic book stands. One, because of the beautiful covers by Mahmoud Asrar, but 2, because this is something that you've really never seen in an X-Men book before.
Which is a world in which they have the space and the freedom to develop their culture, to learn magic and art, and to make these things that mutant kind has never seen before. And not only do they get to revel in it, the rest of the world has to deal with it.
And that was a trailer for Excalibur by Teenie Howard and Marcus Toe. That's in comic shops right now. And then, like I said, New Mutants and X-Force are out this week. And this book was actually kind of interesting because, like, so Psylocke, right? Like, I don't know if you like how she's not one of the more well-known X-Men characters, but she has been in the movies, of course, right?
She's on my cosplay list.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Right. I was gonna say she's purple, so there you go. But like you know, Psylocke originally was a white woman, British. She was related to Captain Britain. She went through the Siege Perilous. There was some weird body modification stuff that happened, you know, whatever, and she became this Asian ninja. Telepath, telekinetic, I forget what it is. She has a side blade, I can't remember what it is. But like now they're kind of positioning her once again to be Captain Britain, which is actually a nice evolution of this character. Like, I mean, her brother, she's part of the family line, it makes sense. So yeah, I'm very curious where that series is going. And, you know, if you're following the books, then definitely pick that up. But it's time for news. Thea's here, like she is always, and she's gonna tell us what's been going on in the world of comics in the last 7 days. Check it out.
Ant-Man is set to make a major comeback this February with a new series that will have the entire Marvel Universe buzzing. Zeb Wells and Dylan Burnett join forces to tell a tale that will take Ant-Man from the anthill to the world stage. Known for his lively humor and slick dialogue on books like Nova and Amazing Spider-Man, Zeb Wells is the perfect fit for the wisecracking former thief and is ready to infuse Ant-Man with his trademark wit. The series will open with Scott Lang down on his luck and desperate for adventure, until he's looped in for a job only he can accomplish. What begins as a seemingly unheroic task for local beekeepers rapidly escalates into a conspiracy that could threaten the Earth. Ant-Man lands in your local comic shop February 2020. Can Archie Andrews and Sabrina Spellman carry on their whirlwind relationship, or is it doomed to fizzle out as so many other May to December romances so often do? We'll find out next month in the end of the Archie and Sabrina arc. The two have been trying to keep their secret under wraps from the rest of Riverdale. But now, desperate to uncover the identity of Archie's secret girlfriend, Betty and Veronica work with their frenemy Cheryl Blossom to stage Riverdale's very own version of The Bachelor, with Archie as the man to win. And now, the epic conclusion of the musical magical romance is here, brought to us by Nick Spencer and Mariko Tamaki. Catch the finale in Archie number 709, on sale December 4th. A fan-favorite Spider character will make a comeback in March 2020 with Spider-Man Noir number 1. Writer Margaret Stoll and artist Juan Ferreira are set to bring the sullen Spider-Man of Earth 90214 back for a 5-issue limited series. Stoll provided some clues as to what she has planned for the darker Spider-Man story. Spider-Man Noir has become this kind of rogues gallery of all my favorite things. A deadpan Spidey noir sensibility, a classic globe-trotting adventure, a femme fatale, a doomed excavation, loot, punching Nazis, Aunt May, camels, heroes of legend, and, oh yeah, an actual rogues gallery of classic Spider-Man noir supervillains, all done up 1933 style. Spider-Man Noir number 1 will be hitting the streets this coming March. And finally, the original Constantine is back in this series from Cy Spurrier and Aaron Campbell, with nothing to his name but decades of bad memories and an unearned second chance. John Constantine is back in London, back to his old tricks, and just in time, as things have become very dark indeed in his old stomping grounds. A small-time gang lord has found himself dealing with a big-time outbreak of supernatural weirdness, and without any allies to call on and nothing left to call his own, John doesn't have much choice about taking a paycheck from one of London's worst, or accepting the help of one of the gang lord's would-be foot soldiers. But what should be an open and shut exorcism turns out to be nothing but, and the author of this madness may just be getting started on their terrible masterpiece. Check out this new chapter in the Constantine story, November 27th.
Also, there's no such thing as an open and shut exorcism.
No.
Like, let's be very clear about that. Like, no. I mean, crucifixes are going places.
Yeah,
There's
it's
going
gonna
to
be
be
a mess.
vomit everywhere.
Yep, somebody's going to be at least 8 inches above the bed, you know.
Right, yeah, like, come on, John. Like, he should have known better than that. Actually, we were just talking about the movie, like the Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing surprisingly good a lot today, but it was surprisingly good. Like,
I enjoy it a lot.
Despite the miscasting, I get it. John Constantine is British, he's blonde. Like, Keanu Reeves is neither of those things,
No.
but
I like him very much as Constantine.
he's very good in that movie. And like, the movie itself is actually ultimately pretty good at depicting Constantine. And apparently the TV show was actually pretty good too. So, but now it's time for toys.
Yes.
Natasha's here, and she's going to show us what's on the new release shelf this week at your local comic shop. Check this out.
Hey Previews World, Natasha here to give you a look inside the Previews toy chest. Let's find out what's at comic shops for the week of November 6th, 2019. That's not all. Before heading to your local comic shop, be sure to check out PREVIEWSworld.com/new releases. There you'll find a complete rundown of everything a toy collector could possibly want.
Thanks, Natasha. And if you're looking for more toys this week or any week, head on over to PREVIEWSworld.com/toy chest. But it's time for a contest.
Yes.
What do we got this week?
We have Big Ol' Fancy.
Yeah, we have a Hulk.
A Hulk.
We
do
actually have a Hulk.
He is very large.
Yes, he is.
He's big boy. Boop, boop, boop. And he's very fancy. And he looks very nice, honestly.
Yeah.
Yes. So, if y'all want to win Big Boy here, hit us up on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're watching, and let us know what your favorite Hulk comic story is. We'll take entries up until next week and pick a winner for him.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't want to lose my geek cred here, but I think this is based off of Ed McGuinness's artwork. I was trying to look on the back to see if it said it. So, but like, yeah, it's Red Hulk. It's actually not Bruce Banner. This is actually General Thunderbolt Ross. Like,
Old Thaddeus.
his arch nemesis.
Yes.
You're right. So it was like a little story arc they did a few years ago. But yeah, let us know what's your favorite Hulk story. And if it happens to be the Red Hulk story, I forget it was World War Hulk or any other great classic Hulk stories.
There are many Hulk stories.
Yeah, let us know.
It's true.
But we do have a winner from last week.
Yes, so last week's winner of the Halloween bundle, answering our question of what your favorite horror comic is Jeff Bond, who said that Hack and Slash is his favorite. So you win that Halloween package.
And congratulations to Jeff. Like, he's going to get, of course, a Reanimator board game. There's a Friday the 13th NECA figure. There's a Frankenstein figure on top of that. And then a Walking Dead poster. So yeah, congratulations to him, man. I mean, it's after Halloween, but hey, you're getting it, so it's cool. So we have a lot of New York Comic Con footage.
Absolutely.
Like, we've done a ton of it. And it just so happens that, like, for the next couple of weeks, I think we're probably going to be throwing up a bunch of, like, New York Comic Con stuff.
Awesome.
And in particular, this week, we have an interview with the people at Hivemind. Now, they're going to explain this, but they're the people behind the Witcher TV show on Netflix. And on top of that, the Bloodshot movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of other stuff that they'll talk about as well. But they approached us before New York Comic Con and were like, hey, we want to just tell people more about what we're doing. Actually, they're doing a lot of really cool stuff. So here's Natasha at New York Comic Con talking to the people of Hivemind, and then when we come back, we'll do a little social swamp. Check it out.
Hey everyone, what's up? It's Natasha here, and we are here at New York Comic Con with Dinesh and Hunter, formerly of Valiant, and now with Hivemind Entertainment. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Hivemind is a film and TV production company, a little unique in the film and TV world in the sense that it has 4 partners. Myself, Jason Brown, Sean Daniel, who's this legendary film producer, produced all the Mummy movies, Tombstone, Dazed and Confused, Oversaw, Back to the Future, Brazil, E.T., etc. And then Kathy Ling, who's equally storied in the television world, works at ABC, co-created JAG, ran and started J.J. Abrams' television division. So she produced Westworld, Person of Interest, Lost, all those cool Bad Robot shows.
Awesome. Wow, that sounds fantastic. I know I'm a big fan of a lot of those things. And then you've got The Witcher.
We have been threatened with bodily harm if we say too much about The Witcher, but it is indeed pretty awesome, I would say.
Darn it.
What do you think, Dinesh? What do you got?
Scratch that off.
In terms of The Witcher, it is awesome. It is coming. We cannot say when, but it's sooner than people think. Henry Cavill's amazing in it, and Netflix has been very aggressive about this. They're putting a lot of resources into it. It's going to be great.
Come on, can you Tom Holland and give us some kind of spoilers?
I just did. You weren't listening carefully. Rewind the tape.
I'm going to have to call you the Tom Holland of Hivemind now.
You're
Sorry.
right. Okay, so now we're going to get into what's really, really going on, what we're really here for, and that's Bloodshot.
Very excited about Bloodshot. So Bloodshot is a film coming out from Sony on February 21st next year, starring Vin Diesel, Guy Pearce, Sam Heughan. It is awesome, written by Eric Heiser, who wrote Arrival and Bird Box, Academy Award nominee. Dave Wilson's our director. He comes from Blur. Tim Miller was his partner. Tim directed Deadpool. This is an incredible visual style. Sony has given us everything we've wanted. Super supportive. I think this movie's going to take people by storm. It is very much the best film to watch post-Endgame because it subverts everything Marvel has done and then embraces it all. We had to focus, and this is great because it gives us a new type of storytelling. We had to focus on characterization and narrative and narrative acrobatics. People will go to see this movie, they'll be like, I know what this is, 2 scenes in. 30 minutes in, they're going to be like, oh my God, where's this movie going? And you so rarely get that anymore. And so we're really trying to protect that, and I think it's going to be a fun experience.
It's a movie that has a lot more in common with like big, sophisticated sci-fi action movies from the late 80s, early 90s, like Terminator, RoboCop, Total Recall, than it does like a Spider-Man or, you know, your traditional Marvel character.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. And anything else you want to add?
Hunter, we'll talk.
I don't know, you got any bad ideas?
Ooh, we like bad ideas.
We're teasing. No, we can't talk about that.
Can't talk about it.
Can't talk about bad ideas.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for sticking around and watching this special episode.
And that was a trailer for Deceased, which is like kind of like been the breakout hit for DC Comics. Like I think a lot of people expected it to be like, you know, just a new little miniseries or whatever, and then people have ate it up. It's been in the top 10 for like the last couple of months.
Good.
Before that, of course, we had the interview with Hivemind. If you're looking forward to Bloodshot and The Witcher, definitely check out all the other stuff they're doing. They also did The Expanse. I don't think that was mentioned in the video, and a couple of other things. Also, Dinesh and Hunter, actually the reason they approached us is because they're former Valiant Comics alum that switched over to Hivemind, and just so happens they're doing a Bloodshot movie, which is a Valiant character.
Yeah.
But now it's time for Social Swamp.
Yes.
So we went ahead and did Inktober last month.
We did.
And there was so much stuff. Like so many good things. I actually had a hard time picking stuff for the article we did on this. But we want to show you guys some of the stuff that you submitted for Inktober. So Social Swamp.
So we did an Inktober prompt. You guys provided us with some goods, and we wanted to highlight a handful of pieces that we really, really enjoyed. First up, we have Missimo, who on the second day, where our prompt was manga, drew us this. It's a great, dynamic as heck Dragon Ball piece.
Yeah, I like that one, yeah.
It's so good. Actually, makes me think of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac
Actually,
a little.
yeah,
Has a little bit of...
yeah, a little Jonan Vasquez.
Yeah, a little Jonan Vasquez.
Yeah.
To it there.
He's coming for you. I like it.
Next up, we have Valentina Testa Art, whose prompt was Spawn.
That's good.
And she opted to use Respawn, which I think is really great. And this is just a really, really well done image.
Piece, yeah.
I really, quite frankly, just enjoy the drape on that flag. It's just, it's got dynamic movement, and it just looks very real. It's just
devastating. I love it.
You're a very good artist, my friend.
We're big upping a lot of murder on this show today. Like it's like the third time today. But oops, well, you know, all in good fun.
Next up, we have LA Mood Comics.
Nice.
And the prompt was rogues, and this was on day 4.
Nice,
so they have these great costumes on everybody. They're a little bit mashup kind of deals. It's very fun.
Actually, there's a V in the corner.
Yes,
Actually,
there
I just
is.
realized that.
Yes,
Yesterday was
there is.
November 5th, so there you go.
The V mask and the Watchman shirt.
Right, Alamo represented fully.
Very good. And finally, we featured this before, but it's just too good not to feature again. We have MT Oulette with this fabulous Ghostbusters piece.
Yeah, that is killer.
Oh my gosh. And I love the Ghostbusters.
Of course.
I was busting this past weekend myself.
Oh, were you?
Yes. Yeah. The Baltimore Symphony Orchestra did live orchestration.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Alongside the first movie. And it was really fun. So I'm part of the Charm City Ghostbusters. It's a local bustin' group.
Right, yeah.
And we went out there and represented the local chapter and took photos with everybody. We had a big old Stay Puffed.
Oh, nice.
And we have the new Ecto currently.
You're going to have to show us pictures of that. That's actually pretty cool.
I'll slide you some photos.
Yeah. We'll put them on the show next week. That's pretty awesome. Well, Elmer Bernstein, were they doing the score for the?
Yep.
Okay, nice. Yeah, okay. That's it for us this week, almost, right? We got Comic Shop shout out, and we got to go away.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up, B.
Comic Shop shout out. If you out there want to have your favorite local comic shop shouted out on the show, let us know what they are. Use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS and you could get a feature. This week, we are giving our shout out to Comic Traders in Calgary.
Nice.
And that was sent in by Josh Kent.
Nice. I'm always happy when we get anything outside of the United States.
Yeah.
So, yeah, truthfully, like, if you're a comic shop or you are a patron of a comic shop outside the United States, send them to us. Because I just love seeing that.
We know the U.S. has a lot of comic shops.
Yeah,
we want to see everybody else.
And I'm also just very curious about the culture of comic shops.
Yeah, if
comic
they
shops
differ in any way.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like the little subtleties, you know what I mean? It's like we're all unified in the same like geeky pastime, right? But I'm always curious about that. So. But that's it for us this week.
That's true.
Thanks for joining us, guys. I am Troy Jeffrey Allen.
And I'm Thea, and we'll see you at the spinner rack.